Hello and welcome. The goal of this video is to help you practice your English listening, and if you want, you can also practice shadowing. That means you listen and then repeat along with me. You can pause the video after each sentence and try to copy my voice. Today's story is about how to talk about yourself in English in a simple, clear, and natural way. Many English learners feel nervous when someone asks, "Can you tell me about yourself?" What should you say first? How can you sound confident and natural? What topics are important to cover, and how can you keep the conversation flowing? If you want to learn the secrets to introducing yourself with confidence and making great first impressions in English, just listen to this story. Are you ready? Let's go. My name is Lisa, and today I want to share with you everything you need to know about talking about yourself in English. Many people feel scared or confused when they need to introduce themselves, but it doesn't have to be difficult. I will use my own life as an example to show you exactly how to do it. By the end of this story, you will know how to talk about your background, your interests, your work, and your dreams in a way that sounds natural and confident. Chapter 1. Starting with the basics. When someone asks you to tell them about yourself, always start with the most basic information. This creates a foundation for the conversation and helps the other person understand who you are. The essential details include your name, where you are from, your age, if appropriate, and what you do for work or study. Let me show you how I introduce myself. Hi, my name is Lisa. I am from Canada, specifically from a small city called Kingston in Ontario. I am 28 years old, and I work as a marketing coordinator for a technology company. I also teach English online in my spare time because I love helping people learn languages. This introduction takes about 15 seconds to say, but it gives people a clear picture of who I am. Notice that I mentioned specific details, like the name of my city and my exact job title. Specific information makes you sound more interesting and gives people something to ask questions about. When you introduce yourself, speak slowly and clearly. Don't rush through your words because you are nervous. Take your time and pronounce each word carefully. Remember that the goal is communication, not perfection. Even if your accent is strong or you make small grammar mistakes, people will understand you if you speak clearly and confidently. Here are some useful phrases you can adapt for your own introduction. My name is Staka, and you can add where your name comes from if it has an interesting story. I am from Mexico, and you can mention your country, city, or region. I am currently, and then you can say your age, job, or what you are studying. I work as, or I study, followed by your field or subject area. Practice saying these basic facts about yourself until they feel natural. You should be able to introduce yourself without thinking too hard about the words. This foundation will give you confidence for longer conversations. Chapter 2. Sharing your background and family. After covering the basics, people often want to know more about your background. This includes information about your family, where you grew up, and what your childhood was like. Sharing these details helps people understand your personality and creates connections between you and others. I grew up in a middle-sized family. I have two older brothers and one younger sister. My parents both work in education. My father is a high school math teacher, and my mother works as a librarian at our local university. Growing up in a house full of books and learning probably influenced my love for languages and teaching. We lived in the same house for most of my childhood. It was a 2-story house with a big backyard where we played soccer and had barbecues during the summer. Some of my happiest memories are from those family gatherings, especially during holidays when all my relatives would come to visit. When I was young, I was very curious about other countries and cultures. I remember asking my parents countless questions about how people lived in different parts of the world. This curiosity led me to study languages in school. I started with French because it is one of Canada's official languages, and later I learned Spanish and a little bit of Mandarin Chinese. My family has always been very supportive of my goals. When I told them I wanted to study marketing and also teach English, they encouraged me to follow my passions. Even now, they continue to support my online teaching business and often ask about my students from different countries. When you talk about your family, you don't need to share every detail. Focus on the most interesting or important aspects. You might talk about family traditions, what your parents do for work, or how your family influenced your interests and personality. You can also mention special memories or experiences that shaped who you are today. Here are some phrases you can use. I come from a family of, I have, brothers and sisters, my parents work in, I grew up in, we used to, when I was young, my family taught me. One tradition we have is, remember that family looks different for everyone. Some people have large families, others have small ones. Some people live with grandparents, step-parents, or guardians. Whatever your family situation is, you can talk about it honestly and positively. Chapter 3. Describing your personality and interests. Understanding and describing your own personality is important for good self-introduction. This helps other people know what kind of person you are and what you enjoy doing. When you talk about your personality, try to give specific examples rather than just listing adjective words. I would describe myself as curious and friendly. I love meeting new people and learning about their lives and cultures. This is probably why I enjoy teaching English online so much. Every day, I talk to students from countries like Japan, Brazil, Mexico, and Egypt. Each conversation teaches me something new about the world. I am also quite organized and goal-oriented. I like to make plans and work steadily toward achieving them. For example, when I decided to start teaching English online, I spent 3 months preparing. I took a teaching certification course, set up my home office with good lighting and a professional background, and created lesson plans for different skill levels. At the same time, I try to maintain balance in my life. I believe that all work and no play makes life boring. So I make sure to spend time on hobbies and activities that bring me joy and help me relax. One of my biggest interests is photography. I love capturing beautiful moments and interesting scenes with my camera. On weekends, I often take long walks through different neighborhoods in my city, looking for interesting buildings, street art, or natural scenes to photograph. I have created several photo albums, and some of my friends have asked me to take pictures at their weddings and birthday parties. I also enjoy cooking, especially trying recipes from different countries. Since I teach students from around the world, I have become curious about their traditional foods. I have learned to make Japanese curry, Mexican tacos, Italian pasta, and Indian dal. Cooking these dishes helps me understand my students' cultures better, and it gives us something fun to talk about during our lessons. Reading is another passion of mine. I read both fiction and nonfiction books. Fiction helps me relax and escape into different worlds, while nonfiction books help me learn new skills and understand current events. I especially enjoy reading books about psychology, travel, and language learning methods. During the winter months, when it is too cold to spend much time outside, I enjoy indoor activities like solving puzzles, watching documentaries, and learning new skills online. Last winter, I took an online course about digital marketing, which has helped me in my main job. When you describe your personality and interests, try to connect them to stories or examples. Instead of just saying, "I am creative," you might say, "I am creative, and I show this by designing my own greeting cards for friends' birthdays." Instead of saying, "I like sports," you could say, "I play tennis twice a week with a group of friends, and we have a lot of fun competing in local tournaments." Chapter 4. Talking about your education and career. Your educational background and career path are important parts of your story. Even if you are still a student or just starting your career, you can talk about what you are studying, what you hope to achieve, and what motivates you in your field. I studied business administration at Queen's University in Kingston. I chose this program because I was interested in understanding how companies work and how they connect with their customers. During my 4 years at university, I took courses in marketing, finance, economics, and business communication. One of the most valuable experiences during my university years was a semester abroad program. I spent 4 months studying at a business school in Barcelona, Spain. This experience was life-changing for me. Not only did I improve my Spanish significantly, but I also learned about different business practices and cultural approaches to work and life. Living in Spain taught me to be more flexible and adaptable. I had to navigate a new city, make friends who spoke a different language, and adjust to different social customs. Some days were challenging, especially in the beginning when my Spanish was not very strong. But gradually, I became more confident and comfortable. When I returned to Canada to finish my degree, I felt like a different person. I was more confident, more independent, and more aware of the world beyond my own country. This experience convinced me that I wanted to work in a field that would allow me to interact with people from different cultures. After graduating, I started working at a technology company called Tech Solutions. My job title is Marketing Coordinator, which means I help create and manage marketing campaigns for our software products. I work with graphic designers to create advertisements, I write content for our website and social media accounts, and I analyze data to see which marketing strategies are most effective. What I love most about my job is the variety. Every day brings different tasks and challenges. One day, I might be writing blog posts about our latest software features, and the next day, I might be organizing a virtual conference for our customers. I also get to work with colleagues from different departments, which helps me understand how all parts of a business work together. However, I realized that I wanted to do something more directly connected to my interest in languages and cultures. That's when I decided to start teaching English online as a side business. I obtained a TEFL certificate, which stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language, and I began offering conversation classes to students around the world. Teaching English online has become one of the most rewarding parts of my life. I work with students who have different goals. Some want to improve their English for job interviews. Others are preparing for university studies in English-speaking countries. And some simply want to become more confident speakers for travel or personal enrichment. Each student teaches me something new. My Japanese students have taught me about the importance of precision and respect in communication. My Brazilian students have shown me how warmth and enthusiasm can make learning more enjoyable. My Egyptian students have shared insights about history and culture that I never learned in school. If you are still studying, you can talk about your courses, your favorite subjects, and your future plans. You might say something like, "I am currently studying engineering at the local university. I am most interested in environmental engineering because I want to help solve climate change problems." If you are working, you can describe your responsibilities, what you enjoy about your job, and your professional goals. You might say, "I work as a nurse at the city hospital. I love helping patients feel better, and I am currently studying to become a specialized pediatric nurse." Chapter 5. Discussing your goals and dreams. Talking about your future plans and dreams shows that you are forward-thinking and motivated. It also gives other people insight into what drives you and what you hope to achieve in life. Your goals can be professional, personal, or a combination of both. I have several goals for the next few years. Professionally, I want to continue growing in my marketing career. I am currently working toward a promotion to marketing manager, which would give me more responsibility for strategic planning and team leadership. I am taking online courses in digital marketing and data analysis to prepare for this advancement. In my English teaching business, I have a goal to reach 100 regular students within the next year. Right now, I teach about 30 students per week, and I want to gradually expand while maintaining the quality of my lessons. I'm also working on creating an online course that students can take at their own pace, in addition to the live conversation classes I currently offer. On a personal level, I want to continue traveling and experiencing different cultures. My time in Spain was so meaningful that I want to live abroad again. I am considering spending a year in Japan to improve my Japanese language skills and learn about business practices in Asia. This would help both my marketing career and my English teaching, since many of my students are from Asian countries. I also have a creative goal that might surprise some people. I want to publish a photography book featuring pictures from all the different countries I have visited or hope to visit. I would include stories about the people I have met and the lessons I have learned from each place. This project combines my love of photography, travel, and storytelling. Another important goal is to maintain strong relationships with my family and friends while pursuing my professional dreams. Sometimes it can be challenging to balance career ambitions with personal relationships, but I believe both are essential for a fulfilling life. In the longer term, I dream of starting my own language school that offers both in-person and online classes. This school would be different from traditional language schools because it would focus on cultural exchange as much as language learning. Students would not only learn grammar and vocabulary, but they would also learn about the cultures where their target language is spoken. I imagine organizing cultural events where students could meet native speakers, try traditional foods, and participate in cultural activities. For example, students learning Spanish could participate in a salsa dancing workshop, while students learning Japanese could learn about tea ceremony traditions. When you talk about your goals and dreams, be specific and realistic, but also don't be afraid to share ambitious ideas. People are often inspired by others who have clear visions for their future. You can organize your goals into different time periods, what you want to achieve in the next year, in the next 5 years, and in your lifetime. You might say something like, in the short term, I want to improve my English speaking skills so I can feel more confident in job interviews. In the long term, I dream of working for an international company where I can use English every day and travel to different countries for business. Chapter 6. Handling difficult questions with confidence. Sometimes in conversations, people ask questions that feel challenging or personal. Learning how to handle these situations gracefully is an important part of presenting yourself well in English. The key is to stay calm, be honest within your comfort level, and redirect the conversation when necessary. One question that many people find difficult is, what are your weaknesses? This question often comes up in job interviews, but it can also arise in casual conversations. The trick is to mention a real weakness, but also explain how you are working to improve it. For example, I might say, I sometimes struggle with public speaking in large groups. I get nervous when I have to present to more than 10 people at once. However, I have been taking steps to improve this. I joined a local Toastmasters club where I practice giving speeches in a supportive environment. I have also volunteered to give more presentations at work, starting with smaller groups and gradually working up to larger audiences. Another challenging question is, why did you leave your previous job? Or why do you want to change careers? Even if you had negative experiences, try to frame your answer positively. Focus on what you learned and what you are looking for in the future, rather than complaining about past problems. I might say, my previous job taught me a lot about customer service and time management. However, I realized that I am most energized when I am working on creative projects and helping people learn new skills. That's why I decided to transition into marketing and also start teaching English. These roles allow me to use my communication skills in ways that feel more aligned with my natural interests. Sometimes people ask about your personal life in ways that feel too intrusive. Questions about relationships, money, or family problems can be uncomfortable. Remember that you always have the right to politely decline to answer or to give only general information. You might say, I prefer to keep my personal life private, but I appreciate you asking. Or, that's not something I usually discuss in professional settings, but thank you for your interest. If someone asks about your English level or makes comments about your accent, stay confident. You might say, I am always working to improve my English, and I appreciate your patience as I continue learning. Or, English is my second language, and I am proud of how much progress I have made. Chapter 7. Making conversations flow naturally. Good conversa. Conversation is like a dance between two people. You share information about yourself, but you also ask questions and show interest in the other person. This balance makes conversations enjoyable and memorable for everyone involved. After sharing something about yourself, always try to ask a related question about the other person. For example, if you say, I work in marketing for a technology company, you might follow up with, what field do you work in? Or how did you get started in your career? If you mention a hobby or interest, you can ask, "Do you have any hobbies that you are passionate about?" Or, "What do you like to do in your free time?" These questions show that you are interested in learning about the other person, not just talking about yourself. Listen carefully to the other person's answers and ask follow-up questions. If someone says they work as a teacher, you might ask, "What grade do you teach?" Or, "What subject do you enjoy teaching the most?" This shows that you are engaged in the conversation and helps you learn more about them. Use transitional phrases to connect different parts of your story. Phrases like, "Speaking of which, that reminds me," or "On a related note," help your conversation flow smoothly from one topic to another. For example, you might say, "I studied business in university. Speaking of education, I also teach English online now," which combines my interest in business with my love of languages. Don't be afraid of brief pauses in conversation. These moments give both people time to think and prevent the conversation from feeling rushed or overwhelming. If there is a pause, you can use it as an opportunity to ask a question or introduce a new topic. Body language is also important in conversations, even when you are speaking English as a second language. Make eye contact, smile naturally, and use hand gestures that feel comfortable to you. These nonverbal signals help you appear confident and engaged. Chapter 8. Practicing and improving your self-introduction. Like any skill, talking about yourself in English improves with practice. The more you practice, the more natural and confident you will become. Here are some specific ways to improve your self-introduction skills. Start by writing down the key points you want to cover about yourself. Create an outline that includes your basic information, background, interests, career, and goals. Practice speaking through this outline until you can cover all the main points without reading from notes. Record yourself giving your self-introduction and listen to the recording. Pay attention to your pronunciation, your pace, and your overall clarity. Are there words you consistently mispronounce? Are you speaking too quickly or too slowly? Use this feedback to improve your delivery. Practice with different lengths of introduction. Sometimes you might need to introduce yourself in just 30 seconds. Other times you might have 5 or 10 minutes. Prepare versions of your self-introduction for different time limits. Find opportunities to practice in real situations. Join English conversation groups, attend networking events, or participate in online language exchange programs. The more you practice in real conversations, the more comfortable you will become. Ask for feedback from English speakers you trust. Friends, colleagues, or teachers can give you valuable advice about how to improve your self-introduction. They might suggest different ways to phrase things or point out areas where you can be clearer. Study how native speakers introduce themselves. Watch interviews, listen to podcasts, or observe conversations in person. Notice the phrases they use, how they organize their information, and how they balance talking about themselves with asking questions about others. Remember that confidence comes from preparation and practice, not from perfect English. Even native speakers sometimes stumble over words or forget what they wanted to say. What matters is that you communicate your message clearly and show genuine interest in connecting with others. Chapter 9. Cultural considerations and adaptations. Different cultures have different expectations for self-introduction and personal sharing. Understanding these cultural differences can help you adapt your approach depending on who you are talking to and what situation you are in. In some cultures, it is normal to share personal information quickly and openly. People might ask about your family, your age, your salary, or your relationship status early in a conversation. In other cultures, these topics are considered private and are only discussed after you know someone well. When I teach English to students from different countries, I notice these cultural differences clearly. My students from Latin American countries often want to know about my family and personal life right away. My students from East Asian countries tend to be more formal and focus on professional topics during our first few conversations. As an English speaker in international contexts, try to follow the lead of the person you are talking to. If they share personal information, you can reciprocate at a similar level. If they keep the conversation more formal and professional, respect that boundary. In business settings, especially in North American and Northern European cultures, self-introductions often focus on professional achievements and goals. Personal information is shared gradually as professional relationships develop into friendships. In more social settings, the balance shifts toward personal interests, hobbies, and family. However, be cautious about sharing very personal details like health problems, financial difficulties, or relationship conflicts until you know someone well. Age and generational differences also affect self-introduction styles. Younger people might be more casual and share information about social media, gaming, or pop culture. Older people might focus more on career achievements, family, and long-term goals. The key is to be observant and flexible. Pay attention to how others are introducing themselves and adjust your approach accordingly. When in doubt, start with safer topics like work, education, and general interests, and let more personal topics develop naturally over time. Chapter 10. Common mistakes and how to avoid them. Many English learners make similar mistakes when introducing themselves. Understanding these common errors can help you avoid them and present yourself more effectively. One common mistake is giving too much information too quickly. Some people feel nervous and try to share their entire life story in the first few minutes of conversation. This can overwhelm the listener and make it difficult for them to remember the most important details about you. Instead, start with the most essential information and let the conversation develop naturally. Share additional details as people ask questions or as relevant topics come up. Another mistake is being too modest or apologetic about your English skills. While it is fine to acknowledge that you are still learning, constantly apologizing for your English can actually distract from your message and make you appear less confident than you really are. Instead of saying, "Sorry, my English is very bad," every few sentences, you might say once at the beginning, "Please feel free to ask if anything I say is unclear," and then focus on communicating your ideas confidently. Some people make the mistake of memorizing their self-introduction word for word and then reciting it like a robot. This makes them sound unnatural and prevents them from adapting to different conversation contexts. Instead, practice the key points and some useful phrases, but allow yourself to express these ideas differently each time. This flexibility will make you sound more natural and help you handle unexpected questions or changes in conversation direction. Using overly complex vocabulary or grammar structures is another common error. Some learners think they need to use advanced English to impress others, but this often backfires if they use words incorrectly or create confusing sentences. Simple, clear communication is always more effective than complex language used incorrectly. Focus on expressing your ideas clearly rather than trying to show off your vocabulary knowledge. Not asking questions about the other person is a mistake that can make conversations feel one-sided. Remember that good conversation involves both sharing and listening. Show interest in others by asking appropriate questions and responding to their answers. Finally, some people make the mistake of comparing themselves negatively to others during their self-introduction. Avoid saying things like, "I am not as successful as my brother," or "My English is worse than my colleagues." Focus on your own positive qualities and achievements, rather than making comparisons. Your self-introduction is your opportunity to make a good first impression and start building relationships. With practice, preparation, and confidence, you can learn to talk about yourself in English in a way that is natural, engaging, and memorable. Remember that everyone is learning and growing, including native English speakers. What matters most is your willingness to communicate and connect with others. Practice regularly, be patient with yourself, and celebrate your progress. Every conversation is an opportunity to improve your English skills and learn something new about the world. Start today by preparing your own self-introduction, and soon you will feel confident talking about yourself in any English-speaking situation.